Hello and welcome to Athena's Creations. I'm Athena Turk, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator since 2017. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm glad you're here and that you've joined me today. I'm also very excited to share with you an idea that has been a few weeks in the making for me. It involves measuring and measurements. I got the idea from the little box that was shared from Susan Campfield, another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And I believe she had measurements for this tiny box or the small die from another demonstrator, Brenda Quintana. So I wanted to make sure and give credit to them for the inspiration today with the other Pocket Thoughts dies. And so this cute little one you can hold 3 of those Hershey's, what are these called? They're the thick chocolates that everyone loves. These make great little gifts for neighbors, for the postal people, for delivery people, maybe even some neighbors. And with that in mind, I decided to do some measuring to come up with samples for the large die and the medium die, which involved a lot of measuring. And I used this handy ruler that I got on Amazon that's got all of the details of beyond the whole and the half and the 3/4, the fourth. It goes into the 16ths, the 8ths, and all of those measurements that I can never remember. So I took my ruler and decided to, on this, what would be the score line, I just kind of walked my ruler around and measured. And then I soon realized that even my largest cardstock, 12 by 12, would fit this large die. However, it was a tiny bit short. And so this is my second go at it. But I have finalized the measurements so that it'll be nice and even with some tricks and tips that I plan to share with you. So hopefully you can hang in for the whole video. I do normally on YouTube try to keep them up to 30 minutes or less, but this might go a little bit over just because I have so much to share with you. I've done all the measuring for you, and so that you can get busy and make these fun gifts in little to no time. And of course, with this gorgeous paper that's in the Reindeer Fun suite of products, along with all of the fun coordinating stamps and dies, absolutely gorgeous. That's where I found this designer series paper. And this star I found in the catalog that has all of the Christmas and the fall stuff, the mini catalog. And actually, no, I'm sorry. That's in the annual catalog. That's part. No, it is. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm so flustered all of a sudden. It's actually part of the pack that's in the very beginning of the catalog, and it's got lots of fun things. Let's see. Let me just share it with you real quickly. It's part of this pack right here. That's at the beginning of the catalog, and there's like a tiny little star in there, and it just kind of like fell off. And you know how when I'm cleaning my desk and move things around, I realized this needs that little star. And so I put that on there. And like I said, this paper is from this suite of products right here. And of course, this is perfect for the little Debbie cakes that have just come out. You can also see that there's room in this one to put your hot cocoa, probably some hot cocoa pods, if you will, inside of there. Maybe even 2 of these Christmas trees. But I just thought this was so cute that I just had to design something with this in mind. And some of the products that I've used for this box, it's going to be the Peaceful Seasons, using this fun die right here. This is probably one of my favorite bundles in the entire catalog. Well, one of many. I have lots of favorites, actually. And then the Christmas tree from our... or the die for the Christmas tree for this one comes from the annual catalog that was carried over from last year. And there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4. And we're using the one that's closest to, it's the second biggest, if you will. And of course, this one has lots that you can use to decorate. So we're using that. Of course, we're using the Pocket Thoughts dies that's in the annual catalog. And I will give you all of the measurements for these. The measurements from the small one did come from Brenda Quintana and Susan Campfield. The inspiration for me designing the bags for the medium and large, I'm calling them the small, medium, and large dies, Pocket Thought dies. And part of my samples that I'm going to share with you at the very beginning is using the one-of-a-kind bundle. One of many favorites of mine. Like I said, I have quite a few favorites. I have most things cut and prepped and ready with all of the measurements that, like I said, I'm going to share with you. And then the step-by-step instructions so that we get it hopefully correct the first time. I don't do any editing, so I just go with it. And like I share with all of my customers and friends that watch, you know, some mistakes can turn into actually the most beautiful creations. So with that in mind, there's a new product coming out that is going to be perfect for Valentine's. It's going to be available for everybody. It's a little bit thinner. Well, this box that I made. Basically, the measurement is either 2 inches or 1 inch. And that's how I came up with this one. And then there's some beautiful dies. This is the Hearts of Elegance, and it's got these fun bags. And as you can see, there's lots of gorgeous hearts. I see a lot of great designs in the future with this one. And this was kind of my first. I know it's the end of October and Halloween isn't here, and I'm already playing with Valentine's. I know it's just one of those things. You know, you gotta, when you're a crafter, you gotta prep a little early. So that's a fun design from the dies. And then here's the gift bags. Another reason why I sort of had this idea in mind. I was playing with this one, the bag. You can use punches. These are the 2-size bags that are going to be in the new suite of product available to everybody. Like I said, I've been playing around. This beautiful, all these beautiful pretties right here. These are the 2 bags, and that's part of the online exclusive. I figure I'm sharing bags. I might as well share what's coming just real quickly. You can always fast forward. But this will be available to everybody as part of the online exclusives in November with the bags and all this beautiful coordinating product. Now back to the dies at hand. I just wanted to share that with you because we've got this one that we're going to make that's a duplicate of this one. I'm showing this one off today. Another bag that I made that I'll share with you that, you know, you can see where the first couple of times I didn't get the measuring correct. So this is using some more beautiful product. You can see that if you do the 2-inch rather than the 1-inch, it makes a little bit deeper bag, and you can hold lotions, lipsticks. There's still room for some candy in there. Again, this would be a really fun and exciting gift for a neighbor. You could hang it on their door, especially if it's lightweight. I've noticed that if it's too heavy, sometimes the ribbon wants to come off. So just be aware of that. And then the medium, I'm going to go over all of those measurements. But then for the medium-sized die that you can turn into a bag, here's the measurements for the medium one. Like I said, I walked my ruler around measuring it. This is 3 1/4 by 5 5/8. And you're going to, it's like 5 1/2 plus 3. So that's what I mean by using the measuring here, the measuring tool. So helpful. And then what I created with the medium box, I used some retired paper, die cut this out and stamped it. This one will hold, it's deep enough that it'll hold some hand sanitizer and a little for those who like to indulge in that on the weekends or whatever. So as you can see, this one with 2 inches is a little bit bigger, deeper, so it'll hold a little bit more. And then this one is with the 1-inch strip. And you can see that you do the die cut. This will hold a fun little spray hand sanitizer. Lots of fun. So many different things you can hold, and you can continue to decorate, maybe use a shiny strip. And then the small bag, which of course, it too is super cute. And I got the measurements for this one. Like I mentioned before, I was inspired by the small one. And so Susan Campfield and Brenda Quintana used the 1 inch here, and I used 2 inches. And then I just kind of moved it around and changed up the design, made it my own. And this one is deep enough. If you do the 2 inches, it's deep enough to hold a little hand sanitizer, some candy, and some chapstick. I like to put things like this in the mailbox to surprise my mail lady. Who doesn't like to receive fun gifts like that? Super cute. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I am going to try and bring in my Stampin' Emboss and emboss machine. And like I said, I do have most everything cut and ready to go, but it might be a couple of extra minutes, like I said, just because I want to make sure I go through all the steps and get you all of the measurements. Oh, and this is the small die. These are the measurements for that one. The cardstock that you'll need to cut out the die is 1 by 5.5 or 2 by 5.5. And that's this piece right here. Okay. And the DSP or cardstock is die cut 2.5 by 2.5. That's for that small die. This is the pocket dot dies using 12 by 2 or 12 by 1. Now, if you use 12 by 1 inch, you're going to have this nice small box, right? And if you use the 2 inch by 12, that's what you're going to need to make this box that I created. And that's what we're going to use today. Everything is pre-cut and ready to go. We've got our ribbon that is approximately 12 inches. And we're going to use tear and tape as our adhesive of choice for a lot of the design here today. Our 12 by 2, this one right here, you're going to score at 4 1/8 and 7 1/8. I normally don't like those eighths like that. I like even measurements just because I'm a little challenged. So this was a fun project actually in the making. But this is important based on the 12 by 12 paper that I had and for it to fit making this pocket dies. Now you'll notice the little loopy thing isn't there, and I'm going to demonstrate for you what we're going to do with that because I've got everything ready to go. And then of course we need a window sheet that will also be, let's just go ahead and get this out and get it ready to go here. The window sheet and DSP, I've got it at 4 by 3.5. And then, yep, that's the 2 measurements there. And I've already pre-cut out this one, and we're just going to stamp it. And I've got the window sheet pre-cut and ready to go. I've got these all cut and ready to go as well. Look how cute and fun that is. And we're going to use the big machine to cut through that. And there's a process here. Like I said, I'm going to try to go through it. Oh, I cut that part off. These are those beautiful diamonds that we're going to use for the accent piece at the end. So basically you need your red cardstock first, which is this one right here. And that's 4 3/4 by 5 3/4. That will give you these 2 right here when you do that. And that way, when you use that, you're not going to have a lot of paper waste. Okay, that's the measurement to make sure you don't have a lot of paper waste. Now you can get these 2 on one 8.5 by 11, and you'll have a little bit of the cardstock left over for other projects. And then the next thing that we're going to do is get our trimmer out. This part is important. We're going to trim off 3/4 of an inch from the top. Okay. A little sticky note, make sure I don't forget. And so basically, once you've got your die cut out, you want to make sure to burnish the score lines very well. That's important when you put your bag together. But when it's flat, the edges on both of these sides, you're going to make sure that butts up to the 3/4 of an inch right there. Measure twice, cut once. I think that's a carpenter's slogan. All right, so we're at 3/4 of an inch. And we're going to take that piece off, 3/4 of an inch. We're going to do that on both of these. This one's flat, I haven't burnished it yet. So we're at 3/4 of an inch. There we go. And so now that we've cut off the top like that, the 3/4 of an inch, I want to make sure that one's burnished and ready to go. So we definitely want to make sure we do that on all 3 sides. There we go. So now we're going to get our designer series paper that's 4 by 3.5, and we are going to position it, try to center it as close as possible on both of these. One's going to be the front of the bag and the other one's going to be the back. And always hold down one side and lift up the flap. To me, that's just a little bit easier to adhere. Keep it in place. You can always, for this one, you can always use liquid glue, but since we're going to do one side through the cut and emboss machine, I wanted to use our Stampin' Seal glue, which is a really good glue for our paper projects. Getting that as centered as possible. I'm going to hold down one side, lift up this one and place my adhesive. All right, and so now we are ready to bring in the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then with our die cut, let's see, what did I do? What did I do with that one? Oh, there it is. Now this one, again, let me just share with you where this one comes from. This one has lots of fun pieces. This is the Merriest Trees. So there's, like I said, there's 4, and so this is the second largest tree, right? That's the one that we're going to use for our box today. And we are going to get that centered somewhat. Let's move some of this aside. I have a small space to work with. That's okay. We're going to bring in our Stampin' and Emboss machine. And normally, like I said, I would have all of this prepared, but it's important to share this part here. And I always store that. I have the old magnetic board that I think at the time it came out a couple years ago, I had purchased 2 of them and then they stopped making them. I guess they do bow out a little bit, but I always keep mine in the machine. Use it as much as I can because to me it just helps hold the dies down. But if you don't have that, you can definitely use a little sticky tape, things like that. Let me put it over here in the light where you can see what I'm doing. Okay. So again, I'm going to place this somewhat centered. It's a fun gift bag. Doesn't have to be perfect. Handmade. Love it. And then you're just going to run this through your machine. This is going to be the front of the bag. And just store that just like that. Alrighty. Now that we have that one die cut out, look at this. We've got a fun tree we can use for another card, or maybe even a to and from. That you could always do that. Love that we have all these fun little pieces to play with. All right, so now that we've got that, we're going to go ahead and put our tear and tape on each side. just like that. This would be fun for Valentine's Day. I'm sure they've got some cute Little Debbie Valentines. Not quite available yet, but you could do the same thing with those and create the cutest little bags. For me, figuring out I needed to do the 3/4 off the top was a game changer, because I was fiddling around, and I truly had a hard time with that measuring. But that's okay. The final project was worth it. And I love tear and tape. You could probably use other adhesive, but when I'm working with bags or 3D things like this, this is one of my favorites. Okay, so this will be the back part. Let me just double check and make sure my notes, I'm not missing out on anything. Okay. Okay, so now we're at the point where we need to be sure before we put the bag together. That's where you want to do all of your decorating first. We're going to turn this over, and our window sheet is the same measurement as our DSP, or Designer Series paper. It's 4 by 3.5. So you can see it's going to fit right over the top. It's a pretty close, very close measurement there. So again, we're going to go ahead, bring in our adhesive. We want to make sure that our window sheet stays put. You probably could use some glue dots, but just want to make sure this is going to stay put so that we can see what's inside our fun bag. There we go. Then you can see that cute little tree. Hoping this season is bright and beautiful. Now again, I'm using this die cut from Peaceful Seasons. Absolutely love it. We're going to use our real red. And I love photopolymer. That again is my favorite because you can see exactly where you're stamping. Hoping this season is bright and beautiful. Beautiful, love that. Okay, this one we're also going to use another favorite of mine, and that's the Stampin' Dimensionals. Oops, sticking everywhere. I was going to use this on a card, and I decided to use something else. So I'm kind of storing it here. That's part of those fun elements that we can use. There's the beginning of the catalog. So now let's get out our 12 by 1 or 12 by 2. This is a 12 by 2. And this one I scored it at 4 1/8 and 7 7/8. And then if you're a little challenged with measuring like I am, the 4 1/8 is basically 4 plus 2 of those lines on your trimmer or your score. And then the second measurement is scored at 7 7/8 or 7 3/4 plus 2. So 4 1/8 on your trimmer is 4 plus 2 of the marks. That's 4 1/8. Okay, just for reference, we're gonna temporarily put these off to the side just so that I have some space to work with here. And our cute little sample, because this part is fun and it's important. This is the outside. Here's the score. And this is, we're going to put it together just like this. Okay. So basically, when I measured, we've got a score mark here from the die and here. That's how I came up with the measuring to score, because you can see how that's going to line right up. And it's going to be right up to the top. Amazing. Love it. Again, it took me weeks doing trial and error to figure out the measurements, but it's going to line up perfectly. Love it when something like this comes together, and love to share it with everybody else too. All right, so let's line it up, score line to score line. Just like that. Hopefully this is making sense to everybody. And then we're going to do the same thing for this one. Oh, yes, it's going to be super cute. For a second there, I had a, did I do an ooh? No, I didn't. I always second guess myself sometimes. I should know by now not to do that. Okay. All right, there we go. See how it's coming together? Slowly but surely. All right, so let's go ahead. We'll do one side at a time. And then we're going to just slowly walk this up the side, just like that. And then we're going to go ahead and take this piece off. I always use my Take Your Pick tool. It's one of my favorite tools that I use, I would say, on a daily basis that I'm crafting and designing. It's a tool that I would recommend for every person who loves to craft. You've got that one. Same thing for this side. Just slowly walk it up. And then our last one right here. Beautiful. Another use for your bone folder is you can go in and really make sure that that tear and tape is nice and snuggled in there. All right, so now we're ready for decorating our fun box. We're almost to the end of our video here. Again, I want to use tear and tape, because that's what I'm going to use to adhere my ribbon to my box. And you just need a little bit, just like that. This ribbon is absolutely my favorite. It's gorgeous. Just go ahead and get that tear and tape piece off. And then on one side, we're just going to put that in there. And the second side. I love using ribbon to decorate, and this ribbon is just gorgeous. It's approximately 12. And as you can see, put that fun little Debbie cake. Ooh, it looks like it started to melt. It is still hot here in the south. Okay, so now you've got room for probably several cakes if you wanted. And then, of course, the last part we don't want to forget, I put off to the side, was our decorative piece right here. And I wanted to find something that was fun and elegant but wouldn't cover up our image here. And so, of course, my go-to dies this time around is from the Peaceful Season. And we're going to use our Timeless and True, beautiful Dazzling Diamonds, I believe they're called. I'm going to put a big one in the middle, and then 2 of the smaller ones, 1 on each side. And we have us a fun gift bag using a product from our annual catalog. Love it. So if you don't have these Pocket Thoughts dies, I think that might be something you might want to invest in, because there's multiple uses for it. And of course you can, this size here you could use in a card, and you could have a gift card. That would be a lot of fun too. But here's this one, and this also in the annual catalog, it's part of the Pocket Thoughts stamp set. You can get it as a bundle, which is what I did. I've played with this one, but I haven't shared it yet, and this is the one that this is going to sell out. I know it is. It's an amazing set of dies that you can do so much with. It's so versatile. So hopefully you enjoyed this and will make something fun as well. And know that there's some fun new product that's coming out in November for those who like to create Valentine's Day early. So I think I only went a minute or so over, but I appreciate you liking, subscribing, and joining. Thank you for joining me for this fun project. I hope you will make some fantastic gifts to give and share this with all of your friends. It's a lot of fun. Happy stamping!